I'll never be able to memorize this piece in time for my performance. I should just stop trying.
Are you struggling with memory?
Who said that?
Over here, on your computer.
Who are you?
I'm a program developed by the Shenandoah Corporation to make memorization easier. They call me the ShenCore Application for Memory Improvement. But you can just call me Sammy.
But I'm convinced that this piece is impossible to memorize. There are so many notes and little details to play, I just feel so overwhelmed. Do you really think that you can get me to memorize this piece?
I know that I can get you to memorize this piece. All you need are a few tips. The first thing I like to do to help make memorization easier is to make a form chart. Tell me, how many pages is the piece that you're working on?
4 pages.
Seeing 4 pages with lots of notes and ink on them can be very overwhelming. That's why making a form chart can help make the piece more manageable by putting it all on one paper. Hold the piece up to the screen and I'll show you what I mean. This is what I've come up with. Isn't this much easier to look at? Doing this shows you where similar melodic material is, which can be used to help learn the piece faster by learning the similar sections at the same time. My next tip is to become really comfortable with the music while you still have the physical music in front of you. That way, when the music goes away, you can work on keeping that comfort level up.
But what do you do if you don't have a lot of time to learn and memorize the piece?
This will be different for everybody, as different people learn at different rates. But I suggest if you must learn the piece quickly, be as detail-oriented as possible when learning the piece to really engage your mind with the music. One such detail to notice that will definitely help with memorization are what patterns are contained within the music. Take a look and see what scalar mode a particular run uses, or if any arpeggios are used. Take a look at this section. The first and last note of each measure form a chromatic melody, and the notes below form a diminished arpeggio each time that this figure appears. And take a look at this figure at the end. The first note of each measure forms a whole tone scale, and the rest of the notes in the measure essentially form a chromatic turn around that central note. Noticing these patterns can often allow you to memorize the music without even trying to.
But what do you do if a section doesn't have any pattern to it?
In this case, break the section into smaller phrases, or even measure by measure, or beat by beat if necessary. Memorize that little chunk and repeat it over and over again for at least 20 to 30 seconds to try to send that music to the working memory to be processed into the long-term memory. Then take a break for a few seconds and try playing that little chunk again. If it didn't stick, then most likely it never left the short-term memory, and so you never really had it memorized. But once you have ensured that that little section has been memorized, learn the next chunk, and then put the two together. Repeat this until you have the entire patternless section memorized. And do it slowly, and build up speed gradually. And by doing that, a pattern might become clear that you didn't realize originally. If you are a visual learner, try to memorize the physical paper that the music is on. Think about the placement of the music on the page. And that way, when you play it memorized, it'll be as if you still have the music in front of you. If there's a particularly difficult section to keep memorized, visualize its placement on the paper. Or try to think about the notes or pencil markings that you've made in that section. Doing this can help you visualize the page and make you more comfortable performing because you still have the music. Now, Sean, when you're working on music, does your mind ever wander or you start thinking about things completely unrelated to the music that you're working on?
I mean, sometimes I do, but for the most part, I stay pretty focused.
And when your mind does wander, what do you usually think about?
A lot of times I just think about daily things I have to do or assignments that are due. But a lot of times my mind just thinks about random things. Why?
What if I were to tell you to use those random thoughts to your advantage while memorizing.
What? That doesn't make any sense. I figured that you would tell me to not let my mind wander, but here you are telling me to do just that? How does what I'm thinking relate to what I'm memorizing? I feel like that would...
If you stopped rambling, I could tell you my point.
Me? Rambling? You should take a look in the mirror.
What's with the sudden animosity? I can uninstall myself and stop giving you memorization tips if that's what you want.
No! I'm sorry. I'm just frustrated is all.
Well, that's why I'm here, to make you less frustrated. Now, back to what I was saying. Use your wandering mind to your advantage. I have found that when I'm memorizing music and I happen to have those random thoughts, every time I play that section, those random thoughts come back to me, and they help me to recall the notes. Now, this won't be the same for everybody, but I figured I'd throw it in there.
I guess that makes sense. But Sammy, all of these tips have been about memorizing the music in the first place. But what do I do to keep the music memorized?
That is an excellent point to bring up. The easiest way to keep the music memorized is repetition. Play and work on the piece every day until the performance. Even one day not playing it can make the memory slip away. However, there are tons of ways to strengthen your memory of the piece. One of my favorite ways is to put on a television show and watch it while I play. The goal is to play without any memory slips and with proper musicality while also paying attention to the television program. Another one of my favorite techniques is to practice without the music. If there's a section that isn't clean or not as clean as it could be, try rehearsing it without the music. It'll really force you to know the notes well enough to practice and fix things. And to test your memory, try starting in a random place. I like to find a recording and start it in a random spot, and then I start playing at that place through the rest of the piece. Now here's a question for you. What is arguably the most important body part for all musicians?
Let me think. Well, since we are talking about memory, I'm gonna say that the mind is the most important body part for all musicians.
Yes, the mind is very important for making music, but I would say that the ear is the most valuable body part for all musicians, and one of the most valuable tools for memorization.
Oh, of course! But wait, how will my ears help me to memorize if memory is all within the mind?
Well, it's actually quite simple.
John, are you okay? Who are you talking to?
Yeah, I'm fine, Mom. I'm just talking to, myself.
Okay, your father and I worry about you sometimes.
So back to what I was saying. If your ear is comfortable with the sounds that are about to come, it will help your mind and fingers to execute it. To practice this, try playing your piece without making an actual sound on your instrument. Just play the fingerings on your instrument and audiate the music in your mind. If you need to sing out loud a couple of times, go ahead, but for the most part, keep it all in your mind. You can even do this away from your instrument. Try to visualize either the physical paper music or try to visualize the fingerings on your instrument. Don't mimic playing your instrument in the air. Keep it all in the mind. That way you can practice in a boring class without even leaving your seat. And if you really want to go all out, try getting a blank piece of staff paper and writing out the music. I've never done this personally, but I've heard from others that it can be quite a challenge to test how well you know the music.
I have one final question. In the past, when I've tried to perform music memorized, I get so nervous and have memory slips that don't normally happen. How can I fix this?
Well, the easiest way to practice performing for people is to actually perform for people. Get your parents to listen to you play or gather up a friend or two. And it doesn't even have to be the whole piece. Maybe just play a particularly difficult section for them. And take note of what didn't go quite right when you were put under pressure so you can focus on it for next time. Another great tool is to video record yourself. This is really good to do because you can go back and listen to yourself over and over again and take note of things to fix. And doing these things will help the real performance seem less foreign and be a lot more familiar. Now, I think I've talked enough and also given you more than enough tools to get started on improving your memorization, so why don't you go give it a try?
I totally will. And I can't thank you enough, Sammy. I'm not quite sure how you got on my computer, but I'm sure glad that you did. I'm gonna go have some lunch and watch some MTV, but then I'm gonna get right into memorizing.
Take care, Sean. And if you ever need me, you know where to find me. Jeez, I am glad that's over. I didn't even know people still watched MTV. I wish this kid would get a new computer. My program's having trouble running on this old software. I mean, it's 2020. Get a smartphone like everyone else. Golly. Program developed by the cut that such detail to take a look at or noticing the piece out to come. It will help. Go ahead, but try to keep it in your mind. Hold the piece up to the screen and I'll show you what I mean. That was awful. Dang it. No! Go. Go. Now, start again. What do you do if a pattern doesn't have any pattern to it? Wait, what? I just finished editing some videos for my recital replacement video, and I have some tabs left open from the videos, and if these shots don't capture my whole essence, I don't know what does. So we have number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6.